Hey, how's everybody doing today? I know it's a lot going on in the YouTube streets, but I uh, I definitely wanted to come on today because I had a special gift. I say special gift. Yeah, I have a special gift for you guys. Um, his name is SliverBack King. How you doing, Sassy? How you doing? You new? How are you? What's up, T Smith? What's up, Commissioner Art Team? What's up, Maddie Patty? I hope everybody is doing well. Um, I really am excited about this. Hey, Philly, what's good? I see Mr. Garrett Chavis. He's on tonight, so I know most of the crowd will have to catch me
Hey, what's good?
tomorrow.
I see Mr.
Let me
Garrett
see.
Changes. He's on to. I know most of.
Let me put this on mute because I don't know. I thought I had it on mute, but I guess I didn't. Somebody, is that your background, Silverback?
That's me. That's me.
All right. What's up, Joe? How are you? Hold on. Hold on just a minute.
Okay.
Hold on just a minute. Yeah, I see that it's people going live at the same time. So unfortunately, I have to kind of get in where I fit in. These people be into the beef. So I'm just doing my little thing over here with Mr. Silverback King, just a very nice gentleman, and I appreciate him stopping by and gracing me with his presence. I'm gonna cam up just a little bit. Let's see. Yeah, I kind of had a rush day today, but I'm glad to see you. How are you, Silverback? How are you?
I was muted up. My bad. I'm doing
Okay,
good. How you been?
it's good to see you. Good to see
Likewise.
you. Thank you so much, guys, for coming through. Well, first of all, it's a pleasure of mine to have this time with you. I know that me and you you interviewed me. So I was a little nervous. Hey, Channel Chill Town, how are you? Good to see you. Hey, Marissa, please, mods, you can put your link in the chat as well as other people that have a channel. Marissa, put your link in the chat as well as Channel Chill Town. Commissioner Art Team has a channel as well as You New has a channel. So please make sure that you put these lovely people's uh, their channel in my chat, please. Thank you so much, Sassy, for coming through. I hope I spoke to you. But anyway, I wanted to say hello, and thank you for giving me this opportunity. I told you, how I had such a great time Saturday. I really did. I had a really great time, and you really was a blessing to me, uh, Silverback. So, first of all, I wanted you to introduce yourself to the audience. Tell us a little bit about yourself and how you came about getting a YouTube channel.
Well, first of all, thank you for having me on. I had a wonderful time interviewing you last Saturday. You guys, if you haven't checked it out, go ahead and check it out. It's on my page, the verbal exchange with Selena, and we had a very
Very
great conversation about everything. So you guys go check it out. So I appreciate you having me on your show. I appreciate your sector that you got going on here, and I've got a lot of your a few of your followers have followed me and subscribed to me, and I appreciate all the love and support. So, but to answer your question, I basically have been a YouTube content creator for the past. Whilst I officially went live on my page on February the 24th. So we went live February 24th, and I interviewed my best friend Joe Delaney.
Oh, Joe. Hey, just
So,
saying.
And, oh, by the way, everybody in the chat, if I didn't salute you out, I'm sorry. Good to see everyone. Thank y'all for coming out. All of my family and friends who are in the chat, I want to thank y'all for coming out and supporting us. And I want to say everyone that's subscribed to me and you're over here in Miss Selena's chat, please y'all go subscribe to her. Please do so.
Please.
I know she'll appreciate the love and support. I appreciate the love and support. Hey, it's just that's my sis.
E. Hi, Matthew. Thank you, Maddie. I appreciate you for being a member. Thank you, Just Sam, for coming in. Thank you, Tay, for coming in. Thank you guys for gracing me with your presence.
So, as I was saying, I went live for the first time on the 24th of February, and that's how I officially went live. But I was in between the 24th and before. I was doing little test lives, just seeing how things were going, and it was a success. I was, at one point in time, I was like, man, all these people are in my chat and chatting with me. So, I want to thank It's Just E for showing me the ropes, and Armando Black and guys like that for showing me the ropes as far as how to go about things. But that's how I got started. But I basically started on YouTube and me getting bit, so to speak, as being a content creator. I was just basically a spectator when Kwame Brown went live. We all know about almost 4 years ago, I guess.
Right.
I've always been on YouTube, but whenever he went viral, I was tuned in. My family was. I'm a huge Lakers fan, so.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm a huge Lakers fan, but I also like the Mavericks. But
yes, the Mavericks.
Yeah, that's Texas folks got to stay together. The Mavericks and the Cowboys. So,
right.
But growing up, I was still am. I was a Lakers fan. I remember Kwame. My mom, of course, my mom and dad were Lakers fans, and I remember my mom talking about Kwame. Why weren't they playing him? Why weren't they showcasing him a lot on the team? And even back then, I was wondering why they didn't play him. Why weren't they giving him a chance, so forth, so on. So when he finally spoke, I zeroed in on him, and I followed him. But then, of course, him as a content creator, you had, he has his own little sector. You might as well say a lot of people spend off from him,
right?
And so, I don't have a lot of time to name names, but everybody split off from them and did their own thing, did their own channels coming from him. So I was in Armando Black's chat. I was in the Truth's chat. I was in Miss 504's chat. Just kind of channel hopping and stuff like that. But I was conversing back and forth with people within the chat. I just started conversing back and forth with people. So all of a sudden, one particular day, I was tuning into a live that the Truth TV was on, and he was talking about government, talking about family, just talking about real topics that we all go through and we all share on a daily basis. And so he had the link pinned, but I was in the chat giving my thoughts, and he was highlighting my comments. And he had a couple people on his panel, so they were prompting me to come up on the panel because I was basically typing in some things that were very interesting in their eyes.
Right.
So I hopped up on the panel, and it ended up, if I'm not mistaken, it ended up being like a 6-hour live.
Wow.
So we had got into it, and then got into the conversation, and it just turned into an interesting conversation. So with that, I just started getting on panels and just discussing, discussing life in general, So he and other people, they, like I said, they basically encouraged me. Hey, you know how to articulate yourself well.
Very much so.
You need to get you a channel. I'm like,
Right.
no, man, I don't need a channel. I mean, I'm not a real big fan of, I don't have a Facebook page or anything like that. I have Instagram, but of course Snapchat, but I don't think I need to do that.
Mhm.
But then sooner or later, as I was continuing to be on panels, I was like, okay, I'll give it a try. So D Truth, he said, hey, why don't you set your goal? Set your goal of going live February 24th. You're going to do really good. You have the voice for it. You have the. I'm not saying that he's saying all that. So I just went ahead and went with it. And so you and I talked behind the scenes, and we talked last week. But public speaking and stuff like that, that's really not a problem with me. I don't have a problem speaking in front of camera. I don't have a problem with being in front of camera. It just comes natural, So, of course, the career I have, I have to speak a lot. I have to have staff meetings and some sort. So that's how that came about. So, of course, there's always something to talk about, whether it's media, Hollywood gossip, politics, sports. There's always something to talk about. And if you know me, all my family and friends who are in your chat right now, they know that I'm a very opinionated person when it comes to things that go on in the world and so forth, so on. So this is just my way of introducing my mind, so to speak, to YouTube, giving different perspectives, and also not just giving my perspective, but I would like to hear from other people about their perspective. Because you, Selena, you know as well as I do that it's one thing to be in front of the camera and talk, but when you have your chat interacting with you, that's what makes it fun. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So you guys that are listening out there, you don't realize how appreciative we are for you guys to engage with us, because that's how we get our energy and get our vibes from you guys. So that's how I got started. I hope I answered your question. I know I ramble a lot, but that's how I got started on here.
Well, brother, you are long-winded, but that's a great thing, because that's going to help the interview to keep going. I don't have to pull teeth. So thank you for that. You're such a blessing. I wanted to ask you, tell me a little bit about how you grew up. I know you're from a small town, so tell me kind of your upbringing.
I am from East Texas. I am country. It's I'm about 60 miles away from Louisiana, and so born and raised here in East Texas. I have two brothers and two sisters, and so three other brothers, two sisters. My bad. So my brother and I have a younger brother, and we're the youngest of the family. So him and I, grew up together. He's a year younger than I am.
Okay.
So growing up here in East Texas, it wasn't bad, but we had a pretty good upbringing. We had both parents at the house. My family's very religious, they were very into church and so forth, so on. But that's about it. But but growing up here in East Texas is pretty laid back. But it's pretty laid back. But there's some, I grew up around in a very rough neighborhood. I've seen a lot of my friends pass away through gun violence and so forth, so on.
So in Longview, the country, you have a lot of violence down there. Like,
wow. Big time. So, but by the grace of God, my brother and I, we made it out of that, and we turned out pretty good, I guess. So, but that's where I'm from. I'm down the street from where you are.
Yes. I would like to say hello to Randy. Thank you for coming through. And I hope I don't mispronounce your name. Streetsy. I hope that's I hope that's right. Hello, thank you for joining me today. Thank you, Marissa, for putting people's links in the chat for those who have a channel. If you have a channel and you would love to put your channel in the chat, put a one in the chat, and my mom, Marissa, will put your link in there. And don't forget, Marissa, to also put your link as well. So, yeah, thank you so much for being patient. But I wanted to talk a little bit about your relationship with your parents and the dynamic of it. Your mother, what type of role did she have in your your upbringing? Like, what what did you learn from her? And same thing with your father. What did you get from your father?
Um, my mom and my dad were very important figures in our lives, not just mine, but our entire family.
Mhm.
My family wasn't perfect, but I did come away unscathed, I guess you say, from the world. And but first of all, my mom, probably the very most. If anybody knows me, they know that I give all praise to my mom
Mhm.
and all credit to my mother. Um, my mom is probably the most influential person that's ever came across that's been in my life. Um,
Wow.
I wouldn't be the man I am today if it wasn't for my mom. My mom prayed for me when she knew that I was, yeah, doing wrong, or,
Mhm.
or or on that thin line of possibly doing something that's going to be detrimental to me. But my mom has always been uh, by my side. So I had a praying mother. She was a Christian. I had a praying mother. I had a mother that would go to hell and back for me. Um,
Yes.
but also, probably I've said this before to people who know me, but my mom is probably the hardest working lady that I've ever uh, met. Um,
Okay.
she, I've seen her, just work, 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 and then of course, one of the statements that she always used to say was, "Man's work is from dusk to dawn," but how did she say it? But a mother's work is never done. That's what she used to say.
Yeah.
So, and I didn't quite understand it until I, became a father myself. But
Mhm.
basically, your work, it doesn't end whenever you are working out there making the money. You still have to be a parent, and you still have to take care of your responsibilities as a parent at the house.
Exactly.
And so she did that. And so I can't say enough of how much she was an influence to me and how I've learned so much about working hard, not depending on the government or anybody else to give you stuff that if you want something in life, you're going to have to get off your rear and get it. And of course,
Mm.
putting God first. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
I know some people out there might hear us and talk. They don't believe in that, but that's just me. As far as my relationship with my parents and putting my creator first. My father was also a very influential person. He had a sixth grade education.
Mm.
But the thing about that is that he had more common sense and more knowledge than your average PhD. He's one
Wow.
of he was one of those guys that basically um, he could work with his hands, but he was also he's a very intelligent guy. You know,
Mm.
um, he had a way with people. He knew how to talk. He knew how to uh, he knew how he was about his business. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And so he was always hard on my brother and I uh, as far as education. Um, he didn't put up with bad grades. He didn't put up with any of that type of stuff. Slacking in school, he didn't put up with any of that type of stuff because how he was raised and how my grandfather basically took him out of school and he had to fend for his family. He had to work at a very early age. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So my father was very, very much hard on us um, growing up as far as when it came to education. So both of them were very influential in my life.
So, with your father being hard on you, in I know when you were a child that probably was troubling for you, but as you gotten older, you realize some of the things that he was trying to teach you. What do you think that your dad was afraid of, or he didn't want you to become?
He basically didn't want. He saw the struggles that he had growing up as a young man. When you have a sixth grade education, that's not, being where he was then and now, I can only imagine. So I know the struggles that he had. Maybe reading, just communication, just times change. You know what I mean? And he knew that. So he was hard, but there was a method to the madness, and I understood why he was, because as this world evolves and changes, sometimes for the good, sometimes for the bad, you're going to have to evolve with it. You know what I'm saying? So so that's why I knew that he had a method to why he was hard on us growing up, as being in school and so forth, so on. He did not accept any type of mediocrity at all. You know what I mean? So if you're going to be underneath this roof, you're going to go to school. That was his.
No, that's right.
That was his mentality. If you're going to go to school, he was saying, "Look, I'm taking you back and forth to school. Ripping and running, taking y'all back to school, so forth. With my gas money, you're going to learn something, and you're going to pass." So I did not understand that as a kid. I thought he was off his rocker. But now, being a father myself, I totally understand where he's coming from.
So now you have, I would say, a better appreciation for your father.
I really do. I mean, I really do. And he, like I said, there was a method to his madness, so to speak. And it really wasn't madness. It was basically him saying, look, this world is changing. You need the education to change with it and evolve with it. And so that way you won't have to struggle like I was. Like I did. So.
Right. Thank you, Gary, for coming through. I appreciate you. Well, Silverback, I wanted to ask you your relationship with your parents. I know you said that, of course, no family is perfect. Can you tell me the dynamic between your father and your mother? And maybe how they shape your life?
And how they shaped my life?
Yeah.
Both of them were hard in their own way. But one, of course, my dad he wasn't a perfect dad. He was, as a Temptation song, Papa was a Rolling Stone. He was a Rolling Stone. So when those guys that, you do as I say, not as I do. Salute to you, Kevin. That's the attorney right there. So it's, do as I say, not as I do. But they both had their way of going about things and the way they raised us. My mom and this is the contrast between the two. My mom taught us by not just saying what she wanted, but she also did it. So if she said that I want you to work hard, she also was working hard for us to look at her example. What I mean? My dad wanted us to work hard. He did work hard, but he just had a lot of issues with faithfulness, being at the house. Man. So he put us through a lot of stuff, around in the streets and stuff. But like I said, no family is perfect.
Right.
And but towards the end of his lifetime, he understood the error of his ways, and we talked about it. You know what I mean? And I'm appreciative of that. I'm thankful for him seeing the error of what he was going through and what he was doing back then. But then again, I'm thankful for my mom, because she could have just gave up just because she could have just gave up because of him, but she saw two little ones that she had to raise, and so that's what kept her going. So I thank God for both of them.
Right. So with that, having a father that was a Rolling Stone, I'm pretty sure there was some type of resentment there as a child, right? Seeing your mother being mistreated in some type of way. And you said that he came to the realization later on what his actions were. Did it take you a long time to forgive him?
It did. It did.
Okay.
Forgiveness is a process.
Right.
With our situation that we had, no child wants to see their mom going through tears, going
Exactly.
through pain. No child wants that. Um, no no child wants to see their mom hear about things that their dad is doing out there. Nothing like that. You know what I mean? So growing up, I did have resentment. I told him that. You know what I mean? And he understood. But what I realized, Selena, was that whenever I got older and I started to mature and in my 20s, I started to realize that the relationship that they had, my parents, they had, that was between them.
Exactly.
Regardless of what my dad did, that was still my dad. That was still my father, and I loved him. So I have to find in my heart to leave that in the past, not forget it, but leave that in the past and make peace. Because at the end of the day, when I laid my head down on my sheet, on my pillow, I can't have any malice or any type of resentment or bitterness in my heart, because all that's going to do is going to eat me away. That's going to affect me in the long run. And so that's what I had to learn. But the good thing about that is I did forgive him. We let bygones be bygones, and he left out on good terms.
That period when you were really angry at your father, what were some of the changes that you were going through as a young man and as a Black young man, being raised up in a country town? Like, what were some of the things that you were facing in that period? And then, you had so much anger pent up in you. Can you
Well,
tell me?
because yeah, sure. Well, because I had so much bitterness, anger, as you spoke of, I went through a phase where I didn't know how to talk to someone about it. I felt like nobody was going to listen, or nobody could relate. So you go through a period of time like that, whatever, and you have all that pent up bitterness and anger. It's going to end up coming out. Sometimes it comes out in the wrong way. I think that a lot of our young people are like that. They go through a lot of drama and stuff like that, and they just don't have a outlet to talk about those things. And so with me personally, Selena, I just didn't have anybody to talk to. I felt like nobody was on my level to understand where I was going through at that point in time. So, I was, because of that, I started hanging around wrong people, doing stuff I had no business doing. But like I said, eventually I had to. I found, I had a circle around me, older siblings, my older sister, talking to them. But it's always, I learned back then, as I do now, you have to talk. You have to talk to someone. Of course you talk, people talk to God and you pray. Yeah, I understand that. But, God sends people in our lives to help us out through rough times. That's his way. That's his way of looking after us. You know what I'm saying? So that's the way I dealt with it. But because I had so much anger and so much bitterness and so much all of that pent up aggression, I didn't have that somebody to talk to during that time.
What about your brother that you were next to? Is he the youngest, or okay? So you can talk to him. Y'all didn't talk to each other about what y'all were going through at the same time.
We did talk about it, but that was my younger brother. You know what I mean? And I looked at it as, I needed, in my mind, I thought I needed someone to talk to that not only was just there with me like my brother and understood that, but someone who could basically put me on the right path and help me with my mindset. So
Right.
he had his own demons too, but the only difference is between me and him was, he actually he came out better than I did by talking to people. He's a minister now. He's a preacher. He's a minister. But that's the way I looked at it. I felt like that's my brother. We talk about it. We talk about how, we got all this, resentment, but that was my brother. We talked about it and left it at that. But I felt like I needed someone else or something a little bit more outside of my comfort zone, because my brother was my comfort zone. You know what I mean? But
Right.
so that's the way I looked at it.
Did your mom have any advice with you going through those growing pains?
Yes, she did. And basically, I would talk to her about it and she would say exactly what I was saying. That's still your daddy. You know what I mean? That's
Right.
still your daddy. And that's between me and him. I understand that you're upset, but at the same time, that's your daddy. Just pray for him. Be there for him if he needs something. But, you can't hold all of that pent up bitterness and all that forever. So, and you hardly see that from a woman. Sometimes a lady might talk ill of a child's
Exactly.
these days. But my mom was the ultimate classy lady. You know what I'm saying? And so she could have easily tried to turn us against our dad, but that's not what she did at all.
She did. Yeah.
So that's the best advice she gave us.
And that's a wonderful thing. A lot of people, especially older people back in the day, when they would have situations like that with a significant other, they always would tell their children, that's still your mama, that's still your daddy, right? And they wouldn't talk ill will in front of their kids about whatever, they had going on with that person. And I think that's a very good thing to do. And unfortunately, people in this day and time do not practice that. But I think that really protects children, from some of the things that they need to be protected from, because they are children. They have no business being in that, in that problem,
That's
between
right.
a husband and a wife. So, or a man and a woman, in their relationship. So I think that's a very valuable lesson to learn. And
Absolutely.
I hope that, I'm pretty sure you probably will take that in your relationships in the future.
I have Selena, because even today, I have nieces and nephews, my daughter.
Mm-hmm.
With what you just said, I was always taught, whenever grown folks talk, you need to close your mouth and you don't need to be involved in stuff like that. And so I always tell me in mind, even, Joe Delaney's in your chat right now. Her son, I look at him just like a son. You know what I mean? So I, whoever can listen, that's a young person, I've always taught, they don't need to be in grown folks' business. So I learned that from my mom. I learned that from my mom and my dad. That's their beef. That's their situations. But you be the parent, and they be the kid. So be in a child's place and be in an adult's place. Let's separate the two.
With you being a young Black man growing up in Longview, Texas, did you ever experience any type of racism, or did any people, did anybody ever make you feel different uh, than just being a human? Like, did you experience anything like that in this Longview, Texas?
Absolutely, still do to this day. But growing
Wow.
up, growing up, my brother and I, we went to I don't want to get too far into it, but put them out there. But we went to a church that was 50-50 black white. Okay, had Hispanics and so forth as well. Pretty big church down this way, right? So we were very involved in the church growing up. So early on, as a child growing up in that church, saw a lot of racism. You know what I mean?
Wow, in the church.
In in the church. So no matter where you go, you're going to see it. I did not understand until my mom explained it. Other people explain it, but that's racism. That's
Right.
racism. But yeah, growing up here in the country, I saw that a lot growing up. But you just have to learn. You have to learn how to maneuver around racism.
Right.
People, if people who are listening to me, there's a lot of false narratives around, and they want to give you that false narrative that this country and there's no racism, but trust me, it is. You know what I mean? And I defy anybody who says otherwise. But growing up here in East Texas, yeah, all the time. You know what I mean?
All the time. That's
absolutely.
Great. It's still very prevalent. Thank you so much, Real Chase, for coming through. Thank you, Big Red. I appreciate you for coming through. Thank you so much for everybody. If I didn't get to call your name, I appreciate you guys for coming through and saying hello and hanging out with me and SliverBack King. So you grew up in a small town where you did see racism. How did that affect you as a man or as a young man? Or did it affect your self-esteem? Or did your parents already instill in you that you were just as good as anybody else?
That last part you just said, both of them always taught us, you're just as good as anybody else. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
They always instilled in us about being confident and having self-esteem. But when you got racism, I don't care who you are, it's going to affect you, but you can't let it affect you to the point to where it does cause you to second guess yourself, second guess your appearance,
right?
So forth. So my parents were always preaching to my brother and I. When you go out in public, you dress a certain way. You dress to impress. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
You make sure that your hair is on point. You make sure you smell good. You know what I mean? You make sure that that you're exceptional because there is racism. We want you to stand up. We want you to stand side by side and look and hey, you might be racist, but look, you're not better than me.
Exactly.
So that's the way they taught us, both of them. And so because that was one thing that I know both of them used to teach us is that when we get our own careers, get our own jobs, you think you see racism in church or whatever, wait till you start working and wait till you start being around certain people, and of course they always warn me against black folks who are just as bad, you know what I mean?
Right.
So at an early age, they taught us that.
Now you are a store manager of a retail store in Longview, Texas, right? So I know that can be challenging because you're running a whole store. And then you said you still kind of experience some type of racism, even being in your position. How have you used some of the things you've learned for the position that you're in as a store manager?
Well, I've been with the company I've been employed by for almost 28 years.
Wow.
And so
it's a blessing.
Yeah. So within that time span, Selena, I've seen the company go from just a couple of black store managers to now we got a significant amount, not a lot, but because we're the minority, but I've seen it grow throughout, right? Mm-hmm. So there's some men to this day that used to work for my company that came before me, and I'm still friends with them to this day, and they give me advice of how to maneuver as in my position. So with that being said, growing up in the company and then moving myself up, I always had a chip on my shoulder. And I'm gonna tell you why. It's because, whether you like it or not, whether they like it or not, when you are a man of color, you're not going to be the first choice. If you have a bunch of other Caucasians that are qualified, you're not going to be the first choice. I learned that. I've been turned down several times. You know what I mean? Moving up the ladder, so to speak. But what that did was, it just made me have a chip on my shoulder, and that was in a good way. It just made me just work a little harder, do a lot of things different from the average guy that made me stand out. And so, you can't deny me of you can't deny a person of hard work and perseverance. So, but yeah, I've seen that throughout my career. But and let me say this: being with the company for as long as I have been, 28 years, I remember that Black lives did not matter at all. It didn't matter at all, man. So you want to talk about getting it from the mud? Yeah, you want to talk about getting it from the mud, man.
Yes.
It was very hard on us, coming up. So, but yeah, I give anybody the advice to just, if you want something in life and you got that opposition like that, you be 10 times better than the folks that are applying for the same job.
Right.
You just make sure you do everything that you possibly can do to be well overqualified, so they can't deny you. You know what I mean?
So you think I think you got that work ethic from your mother.
I did.
That determination to keep going regardless of all the no's. You finally got a yes.
I did. And she was one of those people that always taught me to be persistent at it. There's been times where I wanted to, man, F this, man, I want to get something else. But she's like, no, you need to be diligent with what you got, because you want to throw away all those years of service and all the money, the coins that you've saved up, and you just want to go and be persistent with it. You know what I'm saying? And so if it wasn't for my dad too, you know what I mean? Both of them, they both told me, hey, stick with it. You know what I mean? You might got turned down, but there's a reason for everything. So shout out to everybody in the, there's people in your chat that know me personally. They know that I'm telling the truth. So I'm looking at the names, whatever, but they know I'm telling the truth, but
shout out to everybody in the chat. Let me ask you this question. Would you consider your mother your first best friend? Would you consider her your?
I do. I really do. My mom is someone, if I'm a single man, of course, I'll get to that, but if I'm going to date someone or someone that I wanted to possibly marry or whatever, they're going to have some of those traits that my mom has.
What kind of traits did she have?
My mom was loyal, of course, hardworking. My mom always told the truth, whether it hurt your feelings or not. I appreciate that, because one thing I did learn from her about telling the truth: when you tell the truth, you might not gain any friends. You know what I mean? You might lose some friends telling the truth, but as long as you're true to yourself and you know that you're telling the truth and you're standing on your truth, then you're going to be the one that's going to be able to sleep at night, because you're standing on truth. My mom did not back down from telling the truth. If something came to mind and it first came to mind to her, she's going to say it. And it was right. You know what I mean? So those are the main things you asked me. Those are the main things she was my best friend. I could talk to my mom about anything. You know what I mean? I catch myself today being an adult and going through some things that I'm trying to, get done as an adult. looking forward to the future. And I'm like, I wonder what my mom would think about this. You know what I mean? But I can't get on the phone, of course, and talk to her. But I used to talk to my mom about everything. You know what I mean? And so she was my best friend. She really was.
How long has she transitioned from here? Like, how long has it been since she's passed?
She's been gone since January 17th, 2014.
Wow. Can you take me back to that day when that happened?
Yes, I was. My mom at the time, you know, she was up there in age, so it was just me and her. I was taking care of her. So, I mean, but I say I was taking care of her, but I didn't want her. She was living with me. She was still functioning, still driving,
Wow.
still shopping. You know what I mean? But she didn't look her age, but she was up there in age.
How old is she?
She was 75.
Okay.
She had us at a. She had my younger brother now late. You know, so, but but anyways, so I remember I had to work. I worked late that evening. She was planning on going to the grocery store, and she's like, "Hey, I'm going to the grocery store. Is there anything particular that you want me to bring to the house?" And we conversed back and forth. And I said, "I'm gonna leave. And I'm gonna leave for a minute. And I'll be back."
Mm-hmm.
So I left, came back, and as soon as I come in the house, I start talking to her. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I noticed that she wasn't talking back to me. And so, make a long story short, I saw her. She was on her back. I tried to resuscitate her, call the ambulance or whatever. And come find she had a massive heart attack. You know.
Wow, I'm so sorry.
My mom, she was in and out of the hospital for. She had heart issues. You know, us as Black people, that's a major condition that we all have. I know she had a regular heartbeat, but leading up to the time that she transitioned, she was in the hospital a lot for her heart. You know, so but that's what was going on, and that gives me the motivation, you know, to take care of myself. But that's how that happened. You know,
I think congestive heart failure is very prominent in the Black community, and it's really unfortunate.
yes.
I want to say hello 27. How are you, CC? Good to see you. Let's see. Thank you so much for coming through, Baldhead Wayne. I appreciate you. Hey, Tariq, thank you for coming through. Let's see who else came through. I want to make sure I speak to everyone.
Hello, everyone.
Hello, hello, hello. Thank you for joining us today. Okay. Solomon Gorilla, thank you for coming through.
That's my bro.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
That's one of my brothers.
Okay. Thank you for coming through, guys. I really appreciate it for stopping by. I know it's a lot going on YouTube. Thank you for gracing us with your presence. So that was very heartbreaking, number one, okay, because you were around your mother all the time. She lived with you. To see her on her back like that, it was very traumatic. That time in your life was probably really, really dark, right? How did you maintain yourself through that time?
I'm gonna be honest with you. For a number of years,
thank you,
I was in a really bad spot mentally. I probably needed. Again, let's go back to when you were asking me about my dad and my mom and how that affected me as far as bitterness and all sorts of resentment and stuff and so forth. Now we come full circle with my mom passing away. I needed someone to talk to. Shout out, Armando.
Thank you, Mr. Black.
So to answer your question, I was in a very, very, very dark place. And again, I needed someone to talk to, and that was all pent up again. You see what I'm saying? No one to talk to. A lot of people are against counseling and stuff, and that's
Right.
something that I needed to do. I sorely needed to do, but once again, I think a lot of pride was involved. A lot of you're. I'm a very private person.
Really?
Yeah, I really am. I mean, I really
You
am.
don't feel like it.
I really am a private person.
Okay.
People that know me, they'll tell I'm very, very private. I kind of keep to myself. I don't, but I was in a very dark place. So if it wasn't for my best friend who's in the chat, Joe Delaney,
Shout out to Joe.
shout out to her. I can't thank her enough. Coming to my aid and like, look, you got a daughter to live for. You need to. Your mom wouldn't want you to pout around and just feel sorry for yourself and so forth, so on. And that really was the turning point with Joe talking to me and giving me that confidence. I think every man, Selena, every man needs some type of woman, whether it's your best friend, whether it's your wife, whether it's your girlfriend, whether it's your sister. Every man needs that one woman to be in your ear and to be that voice of reasoning.
Sounding board.
Yes, be that sounding board. I've always had that in my life, and that my mom, she's no longer there. So when I have my two oldest sisters and I have Joe, folks like that, man, that's what really helped me to kind of push along through that dark time, because as I'm talking to you right now, I'm reliving it, and it's almost like therapy talking to you. But that was another point in time where I had to swallow my pride and I had to talk about it. I had to talk about
it. Well, you went to counseling.
Right.
Okay.
No, I didn't go to counseling, but just Joe is a person, I guess that was my
okay.
But I probably needed counseling, but I just had I had my loved ones around me, and I just kind of like swallowed my pride and just talked to them. You know what I mean? If it took me, go ahead.
Do you think that some, and this is, not all Black people, but do you think that some Black people are shameful of going to talk to someone about their problems or mental issues?
I know being a Black man, well, just being a man, period, it's not just shame, but it's also pride. Being shameful that you can't tackle this problem on your own. That's a lot of the reason why a lot of men, a lot of people at that, do not want to talk about their issues because of that. So it's all about swallowing your pride and having you gotta humble yourself too, and like, look, I can't carry this burden by myself. I've got to release that somehow. I've got to talk about it to my loved ones, or to some people that can help me. So I absolutely agree with that question. Yes, people are shameful. People are, they have that they have that attitude to where it's like, I can handle it myself. Very prideful, but in reality, you can't.
You can't. Some things you just can't.
You just can't.
Right?
And so I had to swallow my pride. I had to listen to some good advice, and keep that in mind and keep it moving.
Exactly. Is it because you didn't want to be seen as not being strong? Is that why that you? Okay.
No, absolutely. Because in my family, I am to my family. I'm not just saying this. Like I said, there's people in your chat that know me. I am the strong one in the family. You know what I mean? So I did not want to show any weakness at all. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So, and that's probably wrong to have that mindset. But once again, you know, you have to have humility. You know what I mean? So yeah, I totally agree. You know, it's just one of those things where, you know, you don't want to be perceived as being weak-minded.
Right. I think real strength is admitting when you need help.
Absolutely.
That's
Absolutely.
what I think. You know,
I had to learn that the hard way, Selena. I had to learn that, you know, there's nothing weak about a man saying, look, I need to talk to you about this.
Mhm.
I'm going through this. This is really hurting me. Uh, how do I deal with it? You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Um, I totally agree with you on that.
Suicide had, well, I shouldn't have said that, but the S word has went up tremendously, I would say, over the last 2 years,
That's right.
especially in the Black community. And I think a lot of that is because we are too ashamed to say that we have issues,
That's right.
right?
That's right.
So, and that's unfortunate because, like I said, the real strength is actually saying, I need help. I can't do this by myself. I'm about to lose it.
Right.
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 So, that's when I knew that, okay, I can't do this by myself. So I had to go and get help.
Right.
I wish more people would think that way. And it might not be therapy for you. It might be something else for you, but we have to admit when we got some issues.
We do.
All right.
Uh, we really do. And it's funny that you mentioned the S word.
Yes,
Um,
I keep forgetting this not to
yeah,
say
no,
it.
but it's
Yeah.
funny that you mentioned that because that is I read the same stat.
Mhm,
That is it's a problem. You know, it's a problem.
mhm.
I know personally of young people that have gone through that, and I truly believe that they have that mentality to where they feel like no one understands them
Or no one cares.
or no one cares. Exactly.
Right.
Um, it's always important if we got parents that's listening to us right now. It's always important that we always keep that line of communication open. You know, I always tell my daughter all the time. I'm like, look, you know, as a teenager, it's rough trying to get your teenagers to talk to you. You know,
Yeah, especially a
uh,
girl.
yeah, yes, you know.
I
So
know.
yes, man. So you know what I'm talking about, man. With women, now I'm raising a young woman, man. So it's like,
Right.
you know, you try to get them to talk, and but there's one thing about it, you know, she knows that I'm going to help her, but a lot of young people they just feel like they can't communicate. You know what I mean? And
Hmm.
so we don't want to have any type of reasoning for them to come not come to us, and so just keeping that line of communication just open, you know.
Hmm.
So
It's wonderful. I want to say hello to, I hope I spoke to Ballhead Wayne, Philly, Tariq. Let's see who else. Mr. Black. Who else came
thank y'all for
through?
coming out.
Genesis 1, CC. Thank you so much, guys, for coming through and showing love, whether it's just pressing the like button. I appreciate you guys. We both appreciate you for being here. Together, we break. Thank you for coming, sweetie, for coming through. Hey, Captain Wolf, good to see you. I hope I didn't miss anyone. So, that is pretty interesting. You did experience depression, and that's understandable because that is a very big loss. And you will never get over it.
Never,
Never.
never at
You
all.
you just learn how to handle things better, but you'll never get over it.
At all, you know. And the the thing about the thing about that is you'll learn how to cope with it, but the pain and the surrealness of the matter, it'll never be
Never go away.
you know. as far as, I'm sure, and you and I talked, personally about loved one that you had lost in our last interview last week. Holidays and so forth and so on like that, they're not the same. You know what I mean? With that one, because my mom was the backbone of our family, entire family. You know what I mean? So, so you'll never fully. You can learn how to cope with it, but as far as the pain, that'll never go away.
Doesn't go away. And I'm glad that you had your sisters. I'm glad that you had your other family members as well as Joe to kind of help you to get through those rough moments sometimes, especially at the very beginning. That's very important to have that. And still after, you need support system because, like I said, that pain never goes away when you lose someone that close to you and you had the blessing to take care of them. Your mother took care of you and your siblings since you guys were born, and you had the opportunity to bless her. That says a lot about you. That says a lot about you. It shows that you're caring, it shows that you were compassionate over your mother. And that's a blessing. A lot of times the mother or the father usually goes with the girl. They don't usually go with the boy,
Right.
Boys, they kind of leave it to their sisters to take care of, things, but that's really great. It shows you have a compassionate heart. So shout out to your mother and your father for that. So thank you so much, Tariq. I appreciate you. Boy, Tariq, I appreciate everybody that was kind enough to bless me today. Philly, Mr. Black, Mr. Tariq, Mr. Ballhead Wayne. How you doing, King Genocide? Thank you for coming through. I appreciate everyone. This is a really good place where I wanted to talk about your daughter. For those who don't know, Silverback is a single father. A single father of, how old is she?
She's 15.
She's 15. She's 15. So that's tough, right? I grew up. I am a daddy's girl. My daddy helped with raising me as well. So I can imagine what you're going through because I know I put my daddy through some things. So tell me a little bit about how you got your daughter full time.
Okay, she's my daughter. She's 15 years old, and how? Well, let me back up. I've always, of course, been involved in her life before,
Right.
But she's always been a daddy's girl now. She might not admit it, with the she's a 15-year-old and kind of trying to be,
Little mouthy.
Yeah, but she's still a daddy's girl. But about going on 5 years ago, I had just got off of work. And I'm relaxing here at work. And I had just talked to her mom, my daughter's mom, maybe a few minutes before I got home, right? And she was called into work. Okay. I remember this like it was yesterday. It was in October, a few days before my birthday,
Wow.
So where I live. Oh yeah. So I had talked to her. She told me she was calling in. She was going into work. Got called in, and we were talking. So, anyways, I'm here at home, and I'm relaxing. I get a phone call from my brother, the minister. We was talking about, and he said I could tell something was wrong with him, and he called and he said, "Hey, are you at home?" I said, yeah. What's up? What's wrong? And there's this long silence. I'm like, dude, why are you not talking? What's going on? And he's like, it's Brandy. And that's my daughter's mom's name, Brandy. I said, what's wrong? And, you know, he's like, well, she was in an accident.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, I said, well, is she okay?
Mm-hmm.
And he said, I'm afraid not, bro.
Wow.
So I said, well, I said, I don't have to hang up with you. So I immediately rushed to her house. I called Joe and I said, I don't know what's going on. And it was raining really bad that day. So I don't know what's going on, but my bro says that, you know, Randy was in a car accident. She said, do you need me to come down there? Of course, you know, I said, if you like to, you know, you can. So I get down there, I get to the house, and there's state troopers there, you know, and everything. And my daughter was there in the house. She was asleep. So state troopers come and they say, are you so and so? So I was like, yes. Your dad? Like, yes. As she was traveling on to work, her car hydroplaned into an 18-wheeler.
Oh my God.
And so my daughter has 3 older siblings, okay? And their dad came after I did. And like I said, they explained to us or whatever what was going on. So Brandy, my daughter's mom, her brother was there. He said, "Hey, you know, your daughter's asleep. Why don't you go and take her to the house? You know, everybody's crying and stuff like that." I was trying to keep my composure, so I went and got my daughter, and she's been with me ever since. You know, so that's how that came about. So at the time, my daughter was 9, going on 10. So I've had her ever since.
Were you with Brandy at the time?
No, we weren't a couple or anything like that, but we were. I consider her one of my good friends, one of my best friends. So we were co-parenting. We worked together as far as with the kids because she has, like I said, my daughter has 3 other siblings. I treat them just like my own. You know, help raise them as well. They cash at me money. They send cash apps just like my daughter does. So, but I treat them like my own. You know what I mean? So I love them. But anyway, so we were not together as a couple, but we did co-parent and we did get along, and I was always there as a father. You know, so.
Can you take me to that first month with you being with your daughter full time? How was that? How was she functioning? How was she taking the loss of her mother?
Well, Selena, that first month, I was scared half to death. Okay. Keep in mind, I have a 9-year-old that was going to turn 10 in the next couple months. I want to be graphic. You're a woman, but she had just kind of started her cycles. You know what I mean? I didn't know what the hell I was doing. So I'm telling you, I thank God for my sisters. I thank God for Joe for having those tough conversations to help me out with that.
Right.
First month, I was scared half to death, Selena.
Bless your heart. Bless your heart.
I didn't know how to I know I do a lot of things, but I'm still learning, you know. But
You're right.
But that first month, you know, it seemed like as soon as her mom passed away, it seemed like my daughter automatically changed. And what
Yeah.
I mean by that, it was like she automatically grew up. I saw a kid that was into kiddie stuff, and all of a sudden, and folks in the chat that are my family and my friends they'll tell you automatically changed. I mean, just like that. So life has a way of making you grow up. And in her case, she grew up pretty fast, you know what I mean? But that first month was very rough. First few months was very rough. You know, so you know, I was debating, I was not in East Texas at the time, you know.
Right.
So I had to move. I had to transfer my job, you know, had to move and all that stuff. So I was debating on quitting. It was just, man, I was like, man, my mind was just really, really, really at a bad state, you know.
Right.
But
That's right. Yeah. I would like to thank Genesis for blessing someone with 5 memberships. I appreciate you, Genesis. You're a sweetheart. Who else came in? And I miss you, Renisha. Thank you for coming through, sweetie. The Truth, thank you for coming in. I really appreciate you guys. I hope I didn't miss anybody. But if I did,
coming in.
Yeah, charge it to my head, not my heart. Thank you so much for everybody that comes through. Now, yeah, that first month was very difficult for you. I can imagine. Like I said, I kind of understand where you're coming from because my dad helped with raising me as a teenager. So I get it. I get it. So, your daughter she's still at a very vulnerable point in her life right now. She is now, I think you told me she's 15. Right. Is that true? Okay, so she's 15, so she's even more vulnerable at this age as well. How are you dealing with being a father to a 15-year-old teenager?
It's not easy. So to answer your question, it's not easy. We butt heads a lot. Don't get me wrong, she is a good kid, man. I thank God that, you know, she's a good kid, very respectful. If you was to meet her right now, Selena is yes ma'am, no ma'am. How you doing? Very respectful. She's very quiet, but she minds her own business. You know what I mean?
Right.
But to answer your question, it's hard raising, you know, a teenager. I remember whenever I was 15. You know what I mean? So, but being a 15-year-old young lady, you know, that's very hard because, as we talked about before, being a teenager, it's, you know, they keep a lot of emotions inside. You know, you can't read them sometimes. You know, and so whenever I know she gets aggravated whenever I ask her this, so I was like, "Are you okay? You all right?" It's like,
"Yes, Dad, I'm okay." That's what she said. I could have just imagined it. I bet you get on her nerves.
So man, I know I get on her nerves. So, but I'm also I'm a practical joker, and I'm also I'm like a big brother wrapped up in a dad's body, you know, because I'm always messing with her, I'm always aggravating her, you know what I mean? So, but being a teenager and being a young lady at that age and being her father is challenging, but I am proud of her because, of course, she's gone through so much. You know, we talked about counseling. Now, me and her did actually go to counseling.
Oh, that's good.
So you asked about the first month, we'll go back and say that, but we went to counseling. A lot of the times whenever we did go to counseling sessions, she was by herself. You know what I mean? So, which is a good thing. You know what I mean? And
Yes.
I really do believe that helped out a lot.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, we have she has her moments where her way of venting is, or her way of grieving is whenever she'll all of a sudden just talk about her mom and talk about what her mom used to do and so forth and so on. That is her way of grieving. That is her way of saying, you know, I'm remembering my mom and I miss my mom, the way she did this, the way she cooked that,
Right.
cooked this and did this, you know. So that is her way of grieving, and that is her way of how she keeps a lot of pent up. We talked about that. You know, everybody keeping all of their emotions inside, but that's how she lets her emotions inside. This happened a few days ago. She was talking about how she wanted to cook some cheese grits and shrimp.
Okay.
Because her mom used to cook it, and by the way, I was a very good cook, man. I mean, very good. So she was telling me how she wanted to cook some cheese grits and shrimp, seasoned shrimp and all this, because her mom used to do it and so forth. And I looked at her face. I'm picking her up from school, Selena. I'm looking over, and I can see the sadness as she's telling me the story. You know what I mean? So I reached over as I'm driving. I reached over and I was holding her hand, and she's gripping my hand. And I said, "Baby, we'll get you some of that stuff so you can cook all that stuff." I know
you gonna look. You hey Dimple D, you're gonna make me start crying.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Because it really it brings back so many memories, right? So that is I just think that this is a phenomenal story because the young lady's really been through a lot. And for her to still have a relationship with you and not totally shut down, because sometimes when teenagers and children are grieving, they shut down completely, right? So the fact that she's letting you in little by little, let you, and she's venting the way that she knows how, it's a blessing. It really is. And I just say, for me being a young woman, and when I was that teenage girl, be patient with her. Right. And watch the words that you say. Make sure you don't break her spirit when you don't understand, or when she may be reacting in a way that you may seem rude. I'm not saying, don't correct her, but make sure you watch how you correct her.
Correct.
Girls are very sensitive, especially to their fathers, on what fathers say to them and how they say it. Right? We get some of our self-esteem from our father, how he has loved us or how he has accepted us and shown us love. So be very cautious of that.
I appreciate that advice because I've had that, the women in my life have said this very same thing that you are saying, because as a man, you say things and you don't recognize that, the words that you say carries, it can be negative, especially on a young lady.
Yes.
And so what you just said right there, that rings very much true. And I appreciate that advice. And my sisters, the ladies in my life have always said that to me. You know what I mean? You don't want to come across hurtful. And my daughter does wear her feelings on her sleeves. She's not. Right. She really does. She's not one of these. Yeah, man. She wears a big sleeves big time. So I could just look at her. If she's doing something wrong, I just look at her and she already knows what time it
is. What dad? What daddy? Or whatever she call you. Yeah, that
what she call me.
I mean, listen, I understand to an extent, because like I said, I was like that with my dad. Hey Derek, how are you? Thank you for coming through. I was like that with my dad too, so I can relate to your daughter. Just one look from my dad that was not that was displeasing, that did enough. You know what I'm saying? So we just have to, especially as parents, but especially as a father, be careful. Little girl or young women, they're very sensitive
Right.
to their father's reactions on things. So yeah,
Absolutely.
that
Absolutely.
that's really a great thing. And you guys, your relationship will continue to grow in time. You know, like I said, just be patient with her, and then she's gonna have to learn to be patient with you, because this has been a transition, just like it has been for her. It's been a transition for you.
Right. It's we're both learning together. I like I said, it's not hard, it's not easy at all.
You're right.
I mean, if I take my hat off to the mothers, Selena,
Single
all
mother.
the mothers,
Right.
I take my hat off to any mother, because I've explained this before on different panels and on my panel before. Selena, mothers, even if you have a mother that's married
Hmm.
or a single mother, mothers are okay. Let's just take you have uh, a wife and a husband, and they have children. It's 99.9% of the time the man is out there bringing home the bacon. You know what I
Right.
mean? Working all day.
Hmm.
But the mother, in a lot of cases, mothers have full-time jobs too. They got to take the kids to the doctor's appointments. They got to take them to get their hair
Hair down.
done,
Hmm.
haircuts. They got to take them to their sporting events. They got to take them to get their school supplies. They got to make sure dinner's cooked for them. So the mother is basically that spends probably the most time in the average household, spends the most time with their children. Not saying that the dad does not spend time with the kids, but I'm just saying the mother is more in tune with the kids than the dad is. You see what I'm saying? So me being a single dad, I always appreciate the moms out and the dads, but the moms out there, because I'm doing both of it. You know what I mean? Making sure
Right.
all of it, bringing home the bacon, and then also being a dad. Even though she doesn't
Mhm.
have a mom, but I have to make sure I'm on point with her in all facets. You know what I'm saying? So I all you mothers out there, man, if y'all listen to me, I I I really appreciate y'all. And if you haven't heard it from anybody today, you've heard it. I appreciate all you mothers out there, man. You are appreciated. I appreciate you. I understand. So there you have it.
Hey, Bolo, thank you for coming through, and shout out to the single mothers and single fathers, because
Yes,
y'all
ma'am.
both y'all going through some things, but
Yes, Lord.
I believe that the single mothers and single fathers that try their best, that hey, you get nothing but applause from me,
Yeah, I
nothing but applause, and I applaud you for not running away,
right.
because you
I've,
could have.
yeah, I've seen a lot of situations to where men just put the kids off on their mom,
Mhm.
put the kids off on their sisters, or put the kids off on somebody. But man, that's just not in me. So
Does with you having a 15-year-old daughter, does that affect your dating, or how does your date? How do you get to know a young lady when you have a young lady at home that needs your attention? So how do you balance your dating life and being a single father?
well, to be honest with you, I'm not dating, and because of that, because of my daughter, and because of my work schedule, I'm not dating at all. Not to say that I don't want to date, but
Mhm.
I'm very cautious of who I bring around my daughter or who I'm dating, because you never these days, Selena, you never know people. People have an alternative motives. They have, and
Yes.
so And I've been in a situation in times past where people, certain individuals see that I'm a single dad, and I was in the back of my mind, I'm like, why do you want to meet my daughter? Why do you want to, why do you want to be close to my daughter? And so I'm very leery of that. So I'm not really dating anyone. I'm not dating anyone at all, but I'm just so engrossed in work and being a dad, and just I just really haven't found the time. Now, have I gotten offers to date people? Yeah, but it's just not feasible for me right now, to just hang out and date with someone. I'm not, and like I said, I'm not saying that I don't want to date anyone, but I have, had dated a couple folks while, my daughter's been with me. But in one situation, the lady that I was dating, she basically was like, my kids are grown, you know what I mean? And you got one up and coming. So basically it's just flat out told me that in other words, she
She
wasn't
didn't
up.
want to deal with you.
No.
Because you had a 50-year-old daughter and her kids is grown. Okay.
Yeah, right. So she was like, she wasn't having it. So I'm like, okay, I'm just, I'll get up out of there. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, I'm just not, I'm just not really dating anybody.
Right. Well, hey Vince, how are you? Thank you for coming through, sweetie. You can put your link in the chat. All the content creators that have a mod stick, you can put your channel in the chat, as well as some of the people that do have a channel that is a subscriber. Please put their link in the chat as well. I would appreciate it. I want everyone to sub up to each other. Can someone put Silverback King's channel as well in the chat, please? Someone that can do that for me. So thank you so much. So yeah, Silverback, sub up to Silverback. Silverback is always talking about different type of subjects. If you want someone that's laid back, that gives you a really good perspective, Silverback is the person. So y'all sub up to Silverback King, please.
Thank y'all.
So we discussed dating. So what are you looking for? Since you have a 50-year-old daughter, you have to be very careful, like you said. So what are you looking for? I know you were talking about some of the attributes that your mother had. So is some of those attributes, of course, I'm pretty sure they're probably in the person that you might be looking for. Can you elaborate on that, please?
Yeah, sure. When it comes to a lady that wants to, that I want to get to know and that I want to pursue things with, we talked about my mom being loyal, about my mom telling the truth regardless of what outcome it might bring. I want those same attributes in my in someone that I'm dating. You know what I'm saying? I want someone who's loyal. I want someone who's going to be not have my back, but be right beside me in this life. You know what I mean? A lot of people say, "Hey, I want someone to have my back, but I want you side by side so we can tackle this thing together." You know what I mean? So that's the way I look at it. So I want someone to be by my side and to have my back and to have my best interest and me have hers as well. I want someone to tell me the truth regardless of how I feel. It might hurt my feelings. It might us men, we somehow have egos and we're going to have this bravado, but that woman in your life to tell you, look, you're headed down. That's not the way we should go. You need to get back on track. So I want that type of female. I want that type of woman that's going to tell me what I wouldn't tell myself. Looks looks and stuff like that are going to be, that's what I call a byproduct. That's a bonus. You know what I mean? If you have a woman that, if I have a woman that I can talk to and I can have an intelligent conversation, whether it be about sports or whether it be about, doesn't have to be about anything. We can just sit down, we can talk about our day, you know, with a glass of wine and just have, you know, just have good conversation. That's what I'm looking for. You know what I mean?
Okay.
You know, good conversation. We talked about this last week. You know, good conversation and having a personality. You know, I want to laugh. I want to roast, roast each other. You know what I mean? Look at a good movie and just vibe. You know what I mean? So that's the way I look at it. That's the way I look at it. That's what I'm looking for. I hope I answered your question.
Yes. So, how do you want someone? Of course, you want someone nice to your daughter, right?
Oh yeah.
But what are the other attributes that you would want someone, especially since you have a daughter? What are kind of the detailed things that you look for someone to be a stepmom?
Well, if someone was going to be a stepmom, they would have to lead by example. I would want my daughter to look at the lady and be like, you know, that's a good example to follow. She would have to just be someone that you know, just that's just it, to be a good example, because I'm spending all my time teaching my daughter how to, you know, morals and all this type of stuff, how to navigate through this crazy world. And if I'm bringing home someone that's not that, then that's not going to be conducive to what, you know, I've taught my daughter. You know what I mean? So that's what I'm looking for. She's going to have to be someone who, you know, embraces my daughter like her own. You know what I mean? That's just point blank and period. You know what I mean? So I respect someone who can't live up to that. You know what I mean? But a lady's going to have to understand that I'm a father first. You know what I mean? So that's, you know, I hope I answered your question on that.
Yes, you did. You know, you have been through a lot of grief in the last maybe 15 to 10 years. It's been a lot going on. How do you keep yourself together through all of this? Being a single father, being a store manager, um, just being a man, a black man. How do you maneuver all of this?
Well, first of all, you know, whenever I talk to my friend Joe every day, okay?
Yeah.
I kind of tell her about my day at work. I talk to E behind the scenes as well. It's just ETV. Y'all go sub up to
Just ETVs.
to my sis E.
Hey Rocky, how are you?
And I tell them about stuff that I go through on a daily basis, dealing with customers, but also with the folks that work for me. And both of them at some point in time, especially Joe, they say, I can do what you do. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because you're dealing with hundreds of personalities, you're dealing with hundreds of attitudes, and you have to basically juggle all of those personalities to where everybody works together and everybody is functioning together and everybody's getting along and all this, right? So a lot of people are not built for that. A lot of men are not built for that. But at the end of the day, Selena, for me to have sanity and have clarity of mind, I leave work at work. You know what I mean? And I don't bring it here to the house. Now, you know, I don't let it affect my personal life, even though it is my life and I have to answer my phone, you know what I mean, to put out fire, so to speak. But I don't let it affect my personal life, you know what I mean? So that's easier said than done. But in my mind, I have separated all of that, you know, home life work life, personal life, whatever. You know, I've had every one of those areas have their own slot.
Mm-hmm.
And so in my mind, I've had to woosah when I get to the house.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if me taking a glass of wine, excuse me, and just listening to some music, going to the gym, working out, whatever I have to do to unwind,
Mm-hmm.
not only body wise but my mind.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's how I've been able over these years to kind of have a sanity about myself and to have some sort of peace of mind, because you know that's a lot to juggle. You know what I mean?
Right. And then on top of that, you have a YouTube channel. Can you tell us a little bit about your YouTube channel for those who are not acquainted with it?
Yes, my YouTube channel is called the SliverBack King. My YouTube channel is going to be, it's versatile. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
When you come to my channel, you're going to learn. It's going to be mind provoking. I'm going to give you something to think about, but I want different perspectives of it.
Mm-hmm.
Give you my perspective of things that's going on, but I want to present the ideas and the news and all of that. But I also want to listen to whoever's listening to me. I welcome all kinds of feedback. So I'm always like, for example, a few days ago, as you know, Selena, here in Texas, 2 days ago, we had the primary voting.
Yes.
Okay. I went out and I voted, right? And outside of the voting building, I did a live. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And
Mm-hmm.
so I wanted to let the folks know who listen to me know what has been presented to me. Because whenever I left work to go and vote, you know, I had a lot of my managers, a lot of folks that worked for me. They were
Mm-hmm.
presenting ideas and saying, "Hey, I'm thinking that my vote doesn't matter." You know,
Mm-hmm.
I presented that to on my show to let folks know that that's being talked about. Not only that's being talked about, but you'll be amazed how many people that might be listening to me have that same type of mentality. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just taking a regular guy like myself. I'm just taking my thoughts and my perspectives, and I'm just putting it on for folks to see. But I want people's interactions. You know what I mean? So
Mm-hmm.
I welcome constructive criticism. Um, you know, so that's what my channel is all about. It's going to be, we're talking about a number of things. I've been influenced by people like yourself who
Oh, really? What have I influenced?
come on now.
What have I influenced you? Hey, Bevins, how are you? Good. Thank you for coming through.
Come on now. You
What
know
have
I've done
I
told you.
influenced? Tell
Look
me
at,
what I have influenced you.
well, look, you take things, that that are in this sector and you make them teachable moments. Okay. Uh, I mentioned last week, I asked you the question about Miss Yo Thoughts. You took a situation, and y'all go back and look at Selena's little live she did about Yo Thoughts. You took that one situation where Miss Yo Thoughts was talking to two individuals that she liked that did not get along, and they were basically at odds. And she was just like a person that was in the middle, not taking any sides, but was looking for resolution. You know what I mean? And that was a teachable moment, not for just YouTube, but that's for life in general. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And
That
I
was
was
my
like,
point.
and I looked at that, the way you talked about that, and I was like, that is a great message for someone to actually take as a teachable moment for themselves, because you don't understand how many in life, how whether it's family that you're not getting along with. I know that for a fact myself. Family you're not getting along with the family that's not getting along, and you're in the middle of that, and you're trying to make conflict resolution, and you're trying to bring those parties together and like, look, let's solve this and let's go about our business. You go your way and you go your way, but we'll agree to disagree, but we can just get along. You know what I mean? So I looked at that and I'm like, wow. She took a real life YouTube situation and made it content, but made it a teachable moment for folks to learn from. So that's where I looked at, you know, at your I think you think I'm kidding, but I pay attention. I pay attention to your content, to other content creators, you know, and I take those ideas and I'm like, look, I could do that. You know what I mean? I was listening to I listened to you know, Kwame Brown, you know, how he's in his truck or in his car and he's talking. And I'm like, I say to myself, I can do that. You know what I mean? So I take things like that as a content creator and looking at, I'm looking at you, Vince. Vince, shout out to you, bro.
Yes, Vince.
Vince and Bolo, my sister E, all the folks that, you know, you guys don't know me, but I listen to you guys. I'm subbed up to you guys. And I look at y'all's content and I look at things that you guys do that's successful and maybe some things that you guys do that's not so successful. And I just use it for myself. You know what I mean?
You're right. Shout out to all the content creators in my chat. Shout out to all the subscribers. Thank you for coming through. Well, I tell you, we have had a really good conversation. I wanted to ask you a couple more questions before we end the live. I wanted to ask you, what would you say to a young man that was just like you growing up?
What I would say, Selena, for any young man that was like me growing up, don't be afraid to reach out for help if you need to talk, if you need to vent. Don't be afraid to talk and speak up because you're not the only one that's gone through what you've gone through. You can't, like I spoke of, you can't carry all of your heavy burden by yourself. Let me take the load off. Have somebody take that load off for you. You know what I mean? So that's what I would tell them. You know, don't be prideful. Have humility about yourself. Don't leave any type of bitterness in your heart, bitterness or resentment, because all that's going to do is that's just going to hurt you in the end. You're mentally not going to be right if you keep all that bitterness and resentment and all that in your heart. Just learn to talk to someone, learn to get rid of that bitterness, learn to talk to people that you have that have wronged you or you have wronged them. Swallow your pride and talk to them and hash it out. You know, because life is short, man. You know, life is short. If you have loved ones or whatnot, you know that they're not going to be here forever. So you have to learn to forgive. Not to say, you know, to forget, but you have to learn to forgive, because forgiveness is just not for that person. Forgiveness is for you. You know what I mean? It's for you, and it's for you to have peace of mind. You know, so if I had a young man that was in my spot, that's what I would tell him. You know.
That's wonderful. Another thing I wanted to ask you, what was the thing that stuck out to you from last year that was a teachable moment for you?
What stood out for me last year was a teachable moment. Well, me being at home, well, there's a couple things. Just two things that come to mind. Me being a homeowner, folks, is not an easy task at all. Okay. Here in Texas, in East Texas, I don't know if you heard about this, Selena, but there were back in last year around July, there was a huge windstorm that came through.
Yeah, I heard about that.
Yes, man. It came through and the city was out of power for like 3 days. Okay.
Wow.
So
Oh my
that
God.
affected me, and a tree hit my house. Okay.
Mm.
So with that tree hitting my house, of course, it knocked down a major power line. Like I said, my neighborhood was out of power, but my daughter and I were living out of a hotel for like 2.5 weeks because they're trying to get the city back up. Okay, they were bringing
Mm.
SWEPCO was bringing all sorts of their vehicles from different states to East
Mhm.
Texas because the city was had no lights, had no power
That's
during that
crazy.
time. So to answer your question, that affected me last year. Last year was pretty rough for me because, like I said, a tree hit my home,
Mhm.
and so I had to get all of my ducks in a row. I'm in the process of trying uh, to remodel my home,
Okay.
so forth and so on.
Mhm.
But it's challenging for me because in my mind I'm like, this is too much. I can I can do this later. I can I'm putting off things, but of course I've got my family and friends encouraging me to not put off things that can be done right then and there. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I've learned a lot about myself as being a property owner and being an owner to be patient. Everything's a process. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? So and as long as you have your ducks in a row, um, and you basically about your business and you're persistent, then you'll get somewhere. But being a homeowner is not easy at all. You know what I mean? You have to
Mhm.
have ducks in a row. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And the second thing I've learned is um, believing in myself. Um,
Oh.
being a content creator,
Mhm.
I was pushed to be a content creator, and people
Mhm.
were encouraging me to be one. But I kept saying to myself, the amount of excuses I had. I work too much. I'm a
Mhm.
dad. Well, there's a lot of content creators on here that are parents. They have full-time
Right.
jobs too. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And they've made it work for themselves. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying?
Yep.
So a lot of content creators on here are monetized, and they have
Mhm.
just as much as a work schedule that I have. So
Mhm.
I looked at that and I'm like, look, I can do this. It's a process. I'm not going to gain 1,000 subscribers in one night. It's work. It takes work to be a content creator.
Mhm. Yes, it
It's not.
does.
It takes work. It takes persistence. It takes you networking.
Mhm.
Uh, so I took that as a challenge. So
Mhm.
I learned that you have to. It's hard work being a content creator. It is. You know what I mean?
Right.
Regardless if you like the content or not, whether whether a content creator is beefing, whether a content creator is positive, it takes work. You know what I mean? Um,
It's
so
true.
so that's what I've learned.
Well, what do you see yourself in the next couple of years and your channel? Where do you see
And
yourself?
in the next couple of years, speaking of the channel, I would like for my channel to be successful.
Mhm.
I want it to be monetized. I want people to be inspired by me. Um, I want to negotiate deals with people, be sponsored, partner up with some people. Those are my goals for that. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Um, I want to inspire. So, as a content creator, those are my goals. I want to build my base, to have uh, my subscribers and all of that in place. But I look at guys like Shannon Sharp. I'm not saying I'm going to end up like Shannon Sharp, but I look at guys like Shannon Sharp and guys like that. I look at guys like Ticket TV. Um, you know, those guys. Uh, Willie D Live. I look
Yeah.
at those guys like that, and I'm like, man, those guys have built. They didn't just do that overnight. You know what I mean? That
Mhm.
takes hard work. So I look at that, and I see myself, having that subscriber count up, and possibly being sponsored by people.
Okay.
partnered up with people. You know what I mean? So that's why I see myself. You know,
Well, that is a blessing. And so, what do you see your personal life in the next couple of years?
personally, I just want my daughter to. I want my daughter to be successful. Whether I don't care if she's flipping burgers or whatever. I just want her to be successful and to like what she's doing as a career, to work, to be independent. I want her to learn the value of hard work, which she is. My daughter gets A's and B's in school. I'm so proud of her. So I just want that to translate into real life for her getting a great job, and me just supporting her in any way I can. I want a beautiful home to be, what I talked about, my home being redone, and me just having a kingdom, a dollhouse here, So that's and me financially, I want to be financially, which I'm on my way on that, but I want to be financially stable and and to be financially secure. And I'm not saying I'm not financially secure now, but I want to be more so. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I see myself in the next few years.
Wow, that's great. So, what is the last thing that you want to leave with my audience here? The last thing that's on your heart to say. Um, I would say, if this was your last day, what would you like to tell people?
I would like to tell people, if this was my last day, I like for everybody in your audience to understand that there's no gimmicks with me right now. The way I am and my personality in front of the screen here, that's the way I am. If I have inspired any one of y'all, or if I have said something that has sparked motivation or helped you along your way, if I made your night, I'm very grateful for that, because there's a reason why we're here. There's a reason why we have this interview. So if there's anybody that we've touched and we helped inspire or helped motivate you, then I'm grateful for that. And so I'm I am who I am. Like I said, a lot of people, they have characters behind the screen, and they act a certain way. But those of you who have spoken to me behind the scenes, and you know me personally, this is the way I am. You know what I mean? There's no I am who I am. You know what I mean?
You are who you are.
There's nothing more, nothing less. So that's what I would have to say.
Thank you, General, for coming through. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. Thank you, Philly, for that compliment. I appreciate you guys. Well, I tell you, I want to know my very last question. I want to know, did you have fun? Did you have fun? Yes. Did you have fun?
Absolutely. I know I have. I'm long-winded. You know you said I'm long-winded.
You about that, but please don't take it as me being rude. But it is a good thing, because when you're interviewing people and it's like pulling teeth, that is the worst type of interview to do, because you're pulling teeth to get an answer out of them. So I appreciate your long-windedness and I appreciate your honesty, right? And I really appreciate you being very transparent about some things, about how you were feeling as a man, and as a Black man. So, and a single father. So I appreciate you for having us on this journey of, you going through some things, some really I would say close losses that you've had with people, loved ones. So thank you for sharing that with us. Guys, if I haven't told you, please sub up to the Silverback King. He is something that someone you need to really be watching. His content is really content that is solid to me. He's very versatile. Check him out, guys. Check him out. And also, Silverback, to me, he doesn't have a character, just like he says. A lot of times, some people have characters behind these avatars and behind these pictures. What you see is what you get, right? So that's what I see when I see Silverback King. I want to also applaud you again on being a single father and being a single father that is trying, that is trying to be patient and loving towards your daughter. That is a blessing. So I applaud you for that. I applaud you for being a Black man, standing on your own, making a way, making a way for yourself in the retail business and becoming a store manager in Longview, Texas within itself. That you need a lot of applause for that. Uh, because they don't take too kindly to some minorities being in certain positions. So I applaud you for that. I applaud you for being a man to stick with your own type of content. You're not trying to do something else to get the clicks and views. You want to stay solid on your content. So I applaud you for that. So I just applaud you. I think you are, as they say, a hell of a brother. I'm gonna say that. You're a hell of a brother, and God bless you. Your mom and your dad did a wonderful job with building you to be who you are today. So shout out to them. So guys, I appreciate everyone that came in the chat. If I did not acknowledge you, charge it to my head and not my heart. Each person that came into the chat, you are very much appreciated. Thank you for the super chats. If I got any cash apps, thank you so much. Again, please check out my brother Silverback King. Please check him out. Like I said, you will not be disappointed. If you're looking for solid content, if you're looking for an honest opinion, check him out. That's all I can tell you. I had a great time. And you said that you did. So hopefully you're not lying to me. Hopefully you telling me the truth.
I'm telling you all facts. I had a very good time. Thank you. I'm honored to be on your show. And you're honored to come back on mine. Hopefully we'll click back up again.
I love to.
And so don't be a stranger. I appreciate you. I appreciate your subscribers and tuning in to me. It's an honor. I appreciate you.
I appreciate you too, Silverback. Guys, thank you so much. This was a treat for me as well. Like I said, he gave me my second interview. So if I keep interviewing, I might get better. So thank you for that, giving me that opportunity, that exercise. I would say that mental exercise. Make sure, guys, you press the notification button. So when I go live again, you will know it. Okay. So thank you for the new members. Thank you, Genesis, for gifting any subscriber that was maybe ghost watching or has subscribed to me. Thank you so much, Genesis, for that. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And I hope that the content creators that was in the chat, that you put your channel in the chat, as well as other people that are also content creators that are subscribers. I hope that you put their link in the chat as well. Thank you, Joe, for being a best friend to Silverback. Women like you are much needed. Friends like you are much needed. So thank you for that. It's hard to have a real friend in this day and time. So when you have it, hold them dear. Hold them dear and treat them like you want to be treated. My last words to you guys: death is sure. So make sure that you don't waste your time being a fool. That's my words of wisdom for tonight. Guys, y'all have a wonderful night. Be blessed. I probably will be back on Saturday. I will be having a live about a teachable moment tomorrow. So make sure you push the notification because you don't want to miss this. This is going to be a teachable moment. Vince, I'll just be looking out for something. I'm going to be sending you. And thank you, Captain Wolf. So Genesis gifted you a new members. So thank you, Captain Wolf, for accepting the new members. Hopefully you will stay one. Captain Wolf is one of my favorite. But guys, y'all be blessed. Love you to Reese's Pieces, Silverback King. I got a blessing for you. It ain't gonna be as much as you as the blessing you have for me, but I got a blessing for you.
I appreciate you.
All right. So y'all be blessed. Have a wonderful night. Bye.